So this is a really excellent episode, even though it's very sad that many people, God will not allow them to find this podcast. I really don't know. I don't know then how they're getting the help they need, but that's one of those things that's out of my control for people who really need a solution to this witchcraft that causes gangstalking, because I'm not a real victim to it in that sense. God just put me in it, and other witchcrafts or other sort of demonic persecution so that God could teach me all the things that I talk about on this podcast and will do in the future, God willing. So I finally learned the solution to gang stalking on a physical level. Spiritual would mean we have to pray to God to make the witchcraft leave, because it's actually a witchcraft. But the witchcraft is so strong that, you get me, it doesn't seem like a witchcraft. One, because it was there before your birth for some reason. These demons who are obviously possessing humans first, who have narcissistic personality disorder, and who are usually this person that they're targeting, right? They were already in their family. You get me? Their bloodline. So that's why people who are all being gang stalked, they're literally scattered in the world due to the terminologies that are dividing us, basically. First stage would be, we all recognize their energy vampires. 2008, 2009, when I was, you know, teenager, I was sort of getting into my teenage years. That's when I first started to notice. You get me? Because I'm sort of mature enough to at least notice these things in a way that I could maybe research it. That's when I started to notice these patterns of how that family that God put me in, right? I'm not from their filthy family. God put me in there, teach me things. Because they're narcissistic, psychopathic, etc., which is actually a huge number in the human race. So basically, they're mentally ill, but they're like that predator who's mentally ill, the one that sort of pretends to be normal in order to get all the things in this world, all the economic, all the jobs, or, you get me? They're just like the crazy one who screams and takes their clothes off, who's, mentally ill. That sort of image you have of a mentally ill person. They're just like that one. But their demons use them to sort of make them behave and act like a normal person so they could actually target people. You get me? Because then no one's gonna connect it that they actually crazy and just dismiss them. You know, that dismissal you do to someone, like, whatever. Like, you don't even give them any sort of energy or attention. They don't want that. And that's what anyone would tell you if they've ever seen someone narcissistic. They just want attention. That's not because that's just some evil person out there who wants attention. No. It's not like they're psychology or anything. No, they're mentally ill. They're crazy. They have all the qualities of a real crazy person. It's just that they like to act like a normal person so they can then go around this society, everywhere in this world, target people they are jealous of, which are people who have the qualities I have. They're empaths. It means we're very empathetic. We can feel your energy. It means we don't have actual mental or psychological problems. And we're also intelligent. They're jealous of us because we're the opposite. So regular people who are also healthy people, okay, they're jealous of you too. But so we're the sort of first one they're jealous of, Not because we're stupid or we're weak. We would actually be the strong ones if God had to put people in dominance levels. No, it's a demonic thing. So demons target people who have that quality of being empathetic and very loving because it's all about energy. Okay, so do you see how I connected all this? First, I just told you, in my teenage years, the first thing I ever saw on YouTube was people talking about energy vampires. Okay, so let me go back. So yeah, they're mentally ill. They're crazy. If you observe them long enough, you'll see their body language and face change to look like a kid. You know, the way a crazy person looks like in a psychiatric hospital, whatever. But it's like they don't like the fact that they're mentally ill. It's like they don't like the fact that they're weak. You know, they're weak as hell. They wish they were healthy. They wish they were normal. So they go around society working with demons, using witchcraft, and accusing people every day of their own qualities. And they use that same witchcraft to manipulate people around them, situations, so then they can always get the job you deserved. That's why management is always known to be micromanaging, narcissistic, and annoying, and bullies. Because it's that one, that mentally ill lunatic who should also be treated like the crazy one. But it's, you get me? It's like their demons were thinking, we're going to use this one to target the other ones. Like that. They're not healthy in their mind. They're not normal. Again, an evil person is always crazy, right? You're not a sane person if you're evil, because you do things that are not rational. Evil is not rational. I just mean that image of a mentally ill person. You get me? Like they actually are sick. You get me? They're actually crazy. They're actually weak. They actually are like a child. They actually have a lot of traumas in the sense of a mentally ill person does, that people have to restrain them. They talk to themselves and they're crazy. That's sort of weak human. You get me? Not normal times that you're weak because your leg broke. No. The weakness that is a bad weak to be. The trauma that is bad to have. Not normal trauma you and I could have today if someone harasses us. No. Just, you get me? An insane type of person. Someone you and I would not expect any behavior. We don't expect them to be normal with us because we think they're crazy. We expect that from a normal person, correct? We would be like, why did you just call me that? Don't ever talk to me like we would say that to these people. I'm sorry, okay. They might argue with you, okay, but they're going to leave you alone because they're sort of sane. They're sort of normal, right? They just misbehaved. But if you see a crazy, lunatic, homeless, drug addict type of mentally ill male running around, that sort of image that you obviously don't want to talk to, you know he's also a criminal. Like that, the way you could just ignore him and not argue with him because to you, he's sick in the head, correct? He can't even articulate with you that conversation. He knows right from wrong, but I just mean he's not healthy, right? Narcissists, psychopaths, sociopaths, evil humans, perverts, all of them are like that one. But it's like demons were thinking, if we make all of them behave like that one, then no one's going to pay attention to these ones. And we want energy. We want energy. We want people to argue with them, fight with them, treat them like a healthy person, and expect things from them. And if they don't give those healthy, things that you're supposed to be, right? No one expects anything from you. Well, like that. It's like their demons get to decide all these human beings that I just mentioned, right? They're possessing all of them. So then shouldn't they all behave the same way? I mean, they can possess a good person technically if you do small sin, but we're talking about evil people, okay? Why don't they all just act like crazy people? Because they want to behave so they can actually get away with evil conduct that is more covert. They're the ones who would rather not go to jail. You get me? They'd rather not be exposed. At some point, they do that, right? But it's like what I'm trying to say is evil has different types. Do you agree? Evil can't just be one behavior. Okay, so think of it that way. The way God created evil, demons are not the mastermind. God created evil. So the way he created it, there's an evil that basically is crazy and dumb and weak, right? And then there's another evil that's crazy, dumb, and weak, just like this one. But then it's going to abuse this one. This one's going to be on the sort of submissive level. Even though they're the same. They're both psychologically twisted. And we have normal, healthy people over there. You get me? So these narcissistic humans, these psychopathic humans, such as the filthy family God put me in, basically, they're the ones who made the ones who are walking in the street talking to themselves, who are actually crazy, who actually cannot, right, due to their mental illness being so extreme that they're like a child. They just draw and laugh like a kid. You get me? At a hospital. They're the ones who made those humans like that. They condensed those human beings into that level of mental deficiency. We just don't want to call them insane. Insane would be like another thing. Do you get what I'm saying? So do you see then why a healthy person like me, if I saw bad behavior, the first thing I would think is, which actually comes from my ethnicity, the way we think as Somali, wah walan. Walan means crazy. Wah is like a thing. We're diminishing you. So when we saw bad behavior, we don't react like other human beings usually react. Like, oh, this is a bad person. We would just descend them to insanity, or I'm sorry, craziness. You know? Because insanity kind of means like dementia or something to some degree can be another form too. Right, a good person can go insane in the sense that some huge traumatic thing might have happened. They just boom, lost it. Whatever, you get the point. It's like what I'm trying to say is I would dismiss you. If some crazy male approaches me right now, right? And he's trying to act like a predator, like he's tough, like he's dominant, he's trying to act creepy, changes his facial expression, his body language. You know what a creep is, right? Okay. And he says, hey, you, hey, little girl. He says things like that. Instantly, I would dismiss him mentally. I would see him as crazy. Therefore, he's never going to get a reaction out of me. I'm just going to walk away or tell him to leave me alone. You know? But I'm not going to be like, what did you just say? I'm not going to have a reaction. You would say to maybe someone who's normal, but maybe that moment they just did something or said something rude and you're like, what did you just say? You know, like, you get me. Like a kid that's growing up, they just learned to say a bad cuss word. The way you would just discipline the kid. We wouldn't talk to this one like that. So to me, evil always meant crazy. But demons have gotten away with making you treat evil humans like these sort of healthy, smart people like you to fight with. Because that's what they would rather, that's what they would want. Because that's not who they are. You see how logical it is? Because they're weaker than you as an evil person. They wish they could have the same status as you as a healthy, good person. Where you give them attention, just like you give your friend attention if they maybe said something rude. You know what I mean? Or they said something strange. Let's not say rude. The way you would dialogue with your friend or that strange, they want that same sort of respect when they're not a person we would ever want to acknowledge. So they don't like to be dismissed. So they seek it so much. They harass people every day because that reaction you give them to them is like you unconsciously, without knowing, agreeing with their story that they're not crazy, that they're not possessed by demons, which is why they got crazy. You get me? Because being an evil is a choice of your heart and mind. Okay, but then when you get possessed by demons, you actually become crazy because the possession of that demon in your body makes you crazy. Get it? That was like a song type of chant that Somalis would say. You know, when I was growing up in Africa, Somalia myself, which is these old ladies who are always, we would treat them as crazy because they just come up people and harass you and talk to you. Hey, you, what did you buy? Like that. But see, today, if you saw her, you would think she's a creep. You would think she's harassing you. Yes, she is creepy, but she's crazy. Right? So I don't know how to explain. It's like the way God created evil. It's like evil has a mind of its own. It observed in human history the people it was basically entering into, right? The bad people. It saw how no one ever gives them any attention. He's crazy. Just forget about it. You get me? The way today a mental ill person is dismissed by a cop. He doesn't really treat him like someone who's arguing with him, right? He just, whatever. He just arrests him, right? But if he saw you, a healthy sort of, right, decent person, well, he'd tell you what you did wrong and like that. So since evil comes from envy, right? In order to become evil, you need to have envy in your heart or jealousy. Then that envy creates hatred. Now that makes you all the other qualities. You get me? You target somebody. You become sexist, perverted. You just become a demographic of evil. You target a certain group, etc. But you obviously hate everybody. So it's like evil observed human history, right? The way it was possessing you, it's like evil thinks to itself, I'm not getting attention, so I need to act covert. I need to act like a normal person. And demons observed humans in human history, and they realized how bad people were treated as crazy. No one treated them as that sort of person. You get me? that's sophisticated and smart and cool. And no, they pretend to be normal. You know, they get a car, get a job, they get married, they have kids. They psycho, they crazy. You should never treat them as a person. So that means whatever they do would not trigger you, get it? It's never personal. Because they just have that evil inside their heart, that misery it naturally causes them. It's like they want to take it out of their heart and give it to random strangers so they don't have to carry that or something, as if it ever leaves them. The misery is in you. It's never going to leave you. You're an evil person. That's why it's there. It's your punishment. So it's like they want to spread their misery to others. They tailgate people and harass people when they're driving, right? When they're at a job, they're that bully, that coworker, that creep or whatever, or that female that gossips. They're always staring and watching and they smirk. They're crazy. You don't have to treat them like that. You get me? Like someone actually smirking at you. That's an image demons have put into all of us, our mind, when people act bad. They portray them like the smart, conscious thing that knows what it's doing. No, they're crazy. Humans don't know that and they've lost so much energy. Do you agree? Years and years and years of your life, you've reacted to something and now maybe you've become calm. You don't think that was a big deal. Maybe you're like, I just did better now. But if you could see the way I do, because I'm always learning new spiritual things, I feel so angry now. That just the way the witchcraft portrayed these crazy humans to me, we were always reacting to them emotionally, not verbally. I always ignore them. In my heart, these are not my feelings and thoughts. They just are able to send that to you because they always have witchcraft on them. It doesn't mean that human knows how to do witchcraft and did it to you. No, they're possessed by demons, right? They're demons just when they harass you, they did witchcraft to you. You get me? That human knew, so they're going to get the sin. But they're not required to put it on you. They don't have to do anything. So do you see why they're evil? Do you see why God created hellfire? They're putting witchcraft on us when they harass us and not just harassing us physically. They're also doing spiritual evil things to people, which then causes many people to become very, angry in a way that we wouldn't say fits the situation. Many times I hear people say, oh, public shooters are innocent people who've been harassed too many times. That depends. And a good person who's been harassed too much is not going to go around murdering innocent people. So that's not true. But if they're going and shooting people who actually were bullying and abusing them all their life, well, that's just justice. This earth just doesn't do what God said. That you punish people according to the evil they did. They kill someone, you're supposed to kill them. They rape someone, you're supposed to kill them. They steal something, okay, things like incarceration. You get me? That's sort of life for life. Okay, so sometimes the amount of torture you cause people, especially for years, does mean you should get the death penalty. Okay, but since this world, right, is not following our ancestors the way they were so aggressive, right, like animals are, to defend themselves, you're put in jail for that because the devil got into your government, took away justice from you. Now, that's a crime if you do that, correct? So you're not going to see it the way you and I would see it. We were watching that person in a movie, right? The way as a character, we are okay with them killing those bullies, you know? But in our physical world, that looks like a horrible thing. It depends. There's bullies, you don't obviously, it's not moral to kill them. You get me? I'm talking about a situation we would all agree they fit death. You get me? Like that. So I'm saying that's a rare case. And you would know that's the case only if they're going after people who actually did something to them. But if they're going around to a Walmart and shooting innocent people, that's not a good person. That's not someone like me who's innocent, has been harassed by weirdos I've never seen my whole life all over this country and the world, who have these qualities of being narcissistic and perverted and weird. That's not me. If I ever got angry, what would happen? You get me? It's not us. Because you're a moral person. You would only want to punish the perpetrator, not innocent. What the hell? So those who are actually shooting innocent people, they're evil too. It didn't mean they became that way. It's so dumb. A human is a logical being, no matter their gender or age. So for that reason, if they want justice, they go after whoever did evil to them, correct? Okay, so if they're killing innocent people, then that's an evil person. They don't have a reason. that's moral. It's not a moral reason. So consider those shooters actual evil people. You get me? But there are people out there who might just get a gun and go shoot their manager because that manager has been targeting them for 7 years or 5 years, 2 years. You get me? And being covert is also more painful on the mind. Psychologically, that's more painful to the brain. You get me? Because it's covert and they're getting away with it more. So you're torturing someone's heart also. When you torture the mind, it enters the heart. That's why people have heart problems or heart disease. So see, do you see what I'm saying? If we were to just analyze the effect it had on the person, we would all see that's actually normal to kill that person. We're just not going to say, let's do that. We're not going to tell people to do that. We could understand because they're having heart problems. They're having mental, right, torture done to them. It doesn't mean you become mentally ill. Mentally ill means you're a bad person, Kata. You're an evil person. You're possessed by demons in an immoral way. Versus you had sex before marriage, you're a teenager, and they just possessed you. No, you're still okay. You get me? You're not crazy. I have to separate these terms for you. It means you torture them psychologically, right? The brain can have trauma, correct? So they are so traumatized in the mind. You gave them heart problems. They're always in a freeze or traumatic state in their body, right? Their body's always alert and hyper aware. Okay, now they can function in their daily life. Maybe they developed real disease. Maybe they developed breathing problems, right? Because stress and all that and anxiety, all that can affect your breathing, obviously the respiratory. Maybe they harass them so much in places like bathrooms. Like they used to harass me, and maybe you developed some disease from not maybe going to the bathroom when you always wanted to, because you're supposed to go when your body tells you to go. Like that. So these human beings don't harass people for the sake of the bad behavior. They actually know what they're doing. When you're an evil person, you actually have very long list of intent behind your behavior. You just like to act sort of innocent, as if you just wanted to cuss someone out only. Hell no. An evil person is like the demon. They actually understand evil, get it? Because they operate in it all day. All day, there's just thoughts in their head. They're just, okay, so they know what the hell a behavior actually means beyond just the behavior. You know? They know stalking to people to the bathroom every day is not just to creep them out, to irritate them, to bother them, to make them uncomfortable to be in that place, maybe like a workplace, to get them to quit. They know it's also to cause that person disease in their reproductive area, their urinary area. You get me? Because maybe they don't want to go to the bathroom because you're stalking them to it, but it's covert. You get up the same time they do because you work in a call center or what like that. So now do you see, if they actually had the intention to cause this person disease in their urinary, disease in their heart, disease in their mind, what? Of course they deserve death. Do you see what I'm saying? You and I, the human race, unless you think, you're not going to see how harmful evil people are. You just think, oh, they did something sort of medium level, let's just let it go. But if you were really to be fair to victims, you would actually give a lot of people death. You would give a lot of people severe punishments in jail. You would increase the punishment because you know the damage of that behavior. And that's what actually they enjoy. They see why to them there's so much energy? Because they are more educated than you as an evil person as to the consequence of their conduct than you, people who don't operate like that all day. They know how damaging it is to victims. So that's actually why they also smirk. That's why they seem sort of like they're enjoying something. It's not just the bad behavior they did. They know the long-term effect they caused that person. You are just thinking, yeah, I know, people get traumatized. No, it's way worse, you know? Down the line, people suffer or kill themselves or whatever. Please don't do this, you know? So we don't have justice in this life. That's my point. Many people who should be killed are not being killed. And people who should not be getting killed are being killed. You get me? Woo! So for that reason, that's why the punishment in the next life, which we call the hereafter in Islam, that's why it's not going to be what you think it's going to be. Right? Like some sort of, like God just beats them up. Doesn't feed them maybe. That's why he created fire. You turn into bones. You disappear and then you come back to life. Then you burn again. It's going to be so interesting. I'm going to ask God to just let me go there with some angels. I'm just going to watch these prayers. That's what I always say to God, to just make myself feel better. I always remind myself of hell. You know, that it's out there waiting for these people who are stalking and terrorizing my life every day. And that evil thoughts come to me and make it seem as if, but they didn't do anything like that. They didn't hit somebody. They didn't steal something. Why would God blah, blah? They act like they want you to believe God is stupid. He knows they caused me many sicknesses many times. He knows they have had the intention, just God protects me from it, of causing me very severe diseases, such as heart disease. You get me? Just God protects me. I just do my best to not let the stress get to me. They are trying to murder people when human beings are walking around every day harassing complete strangers on a daily basis. We would call them today gangstalkers as well, because they're not, you get me, actual gang. They don't know each other, but they're basically that's that typical horrible customer that would enter your company and just they pick on you as a cashier or whatever, and they just terrorize you. They just harass you. They just bother you. You know the amount of anxiety and fear they would cause you, because they can just lie about you if you stand up for yourself. And if you don't stand up for yourself, you know that it's going to continue that behavior. Other creepy people will come in and do you see, therefore, that person going home every day with that feeling? Now they're going to have a heart attack. Now they're going to kill themselves. So in society, the government is making, in companies, right? And people like families or parents are making this even worse than it should be. Right? We could have prevented all that extra long-term effects that the evil actually wanted to cause this innocent person, or who knows, they're a bad person this time, but they're being harassed too. And that is if we allowed people to defend themselves without allowing others to accuse them. You can't be like, well, we're not God. We can't stop someone's mouth from what they say. Yes, you can. You create a workplace where people are, it's okay to tell someone, don't touch me, don't talk to me, don't stare at me. And it doesn't need to come to HR. You get me? That it just ends there. You can just stand up for yourself and move on. I suffered from that. I couldn't say anything. HR is calling me. If I don't say anything, it goes on and it gets very criminal. So do you see that I'm going home with all that trauma and that perpetrator is enjoying themselves? So this is why I understand psychology of evil so much. And now I understand the spiritual so much, because God actually made these sort of generic harassments be directed at me in the places that people every day are suffering. Workplaces, the street, a business, whether I'm a customer or employee, school, what's left, home, wherever I go, you get me, the sort of environment. I know what specific behaviors demons like to use, because obviously it changes in the environment due to the environment. The behavior is the same as bullying, harassment, yeah. But the environment, right? This time you lose a job. This time you lose a home. This time you might get arrested. Like that. It's always the victim that suffers. So then, do you see what that does to the society then on a cumulative level? Everyone's going to have some intense trauma. Everyone's going to walk around with emotions God never wanted you to walk around with, where you're just always restraining your anger that He wants you to express to stop the evil one, which is a crazy person. How can you wake up, put on clothes, get in your car, go to random stores you don't want to buy anything from, just to pick on random cashiers? And then you go to another store and you do the same thing. That's what these humans do who are narcissistic. They don't go shopping for normal reasons. They actually are looking for people. I swear by God's name, I came from a family like that, so I know what I'm talking about. They would always be like, I always would see those siblings in that family just going out for no reason all day, every 1 hour, every 30 minutes. They just go and drive and they come back really quickly because they're just going to that little convenience store. That's why these sort of shallow, average, very ugly looking human beings, right? That typical ugly customer is always in your store. If you're a cashier, if you're an employee, you're always seeing humans like that, always shopping. You never see a different demographic as much. You know why? Because there's supposed to be a pause. There's supposed to be a gap where there's nobody for some time. But they're always the only ones you see. Because they're possessed by demons who are looking for people. They don't know you, but that demon knows you. And that demon, some witchcraft is telling them to come find you. They come to your store. They harass you. And if you're a bad person, well, then your demon is going to then tell you to go and do, like, you get me? The evil is just spreading all over the place. Because people don't think humans are intently going out of their home to seek strangers to harass. If society and governments knew that, our life would be better. You might be like, well, we know there's criminals. Not necessarily, you know. They always somehow connected to a story. Oh, they had a fight, so this happened. I know not necessarily the predators, right? They might be like, well, he just went out and shot people because he's a crazy. Oh, I get it. But those are more like, I told you, the direct crime. You get me? Like murder. I'm talking about harassment that will cause you the same symptoms or the same consequence or sort of result as someone they murdered, right? You're going to shoot yourself, or you get me? You're going to get into situations or altercations you shouldn't. You get me? So I feel like human beings just don't respect harassment as a very evil thing as much, because it's not because they don't care. It's because they don't know how to disable it. They don't know how to treat this level of evil. They only know how to go after murder. And then in that situation, they don't do the right thing. They let them go. They don't even give them death penalty. Why are you letting them live? I love how they always say, well, that would be more cruel if we let them live. What? Think of it from their perspective. They just took someone's life, right? I mean, God takes your life, you die, but they just did something that took someone's life, right? They used the gun. So think about it, or violence. In their mind, they're enjoying the fact that that person who would have been here for 20, 30 more years, exactly, to do great things with their life or whatever, unless it's evil, right? Just, you get the point. Just someone who would have, let's assume, right? Someone who would have done great things with their life, someone who would have lived, they're enjoying the fact that, you get me, you don't have that anymore. You get me? People are just focusing on just the act of violence. No, what did the murderer want? He didn't want this person to enjoy the rest of their life, to have all the blessings and all the things you'd normally have as you go on in life, right? So then why are you letting him or her live? You get me? Why are you letting them wake up to this world every day, which is a blessing to have another day? Not just because, right, life for life, that psychology that God will teach you, but why are you letting them feel as if that person, right, is no longer here? They can't go to that school they wanted and that day become that cool CEO they should have been. They cut someone's life short, correct? So you don't understand as evil as human beings who just don't make your government do the right thing, what you're doing. You're letting that perpetrator stay in that jail or prison, and now they're going to feed on more energy. Get it? We would have less evil energy in our world. They're feeding on more energy by then continuing it. Get it? They're waking up every day to the feeling that innocent person died. Or maybe they were a bad person, but just in that situation, they weren't supposed to be killed. They're just that we don't want that satisfaction. We don't want them to wake up every day to that satisfaction. That's why we have punishment. That's why you want law and order. You don't want evil humans enjoying abusing people and not seeing, boom, punishment right away. Because now that we don't want that psychological energy that evil God created it to have of just, we don't want that. That's dangerous. It goes into the earth. It affects people every day. It hurts someone over there who's just sitting over there. That energy is going to be felt by that person over there. They're going to be so scared every day if someone's staring at them. We don't want that. We don't want that evil thing living either. In situations that you're supposed to kill a human, such as they raped or killed somebody. We don't want them here. Not just because, right, they deserve death, but what the hell are they doing? They're feeding off of energy every day that they didn't get what they deserved, which is to go and die right away. So also, keyword also, so they could also go to hell quicker. You're delaying their hell. 3, of course they're going to do it again. What the hell are you thinking? So it's sad. I'm just going to end it with this. I've learned the solution to gangstalking now. It took me forever to figure it out because I was always in a state of just ignoring them. You get me? And thinking God is just going to deliver me and they're going to miraculously disappear. I keep forgetting he puts me in this stuff. Just as he made demons also persecute me like a prophet, which is another witchcraft that only happens to them. So I can learn how religion was corrupted. You get me? And I'm putting these other witchcrafts to learn how evil humans do things every day, how demons use them every day, how everything, right, is happening so calculatively, but it's covert, right? You as human beings don't know evil humans are working together without them even knowing. You get me? They're used by demons in a strategic way, and sometimes they do know they're working together in a specific neighborhood or city, but they don't meet each other. You get me? Their demons sort of tell them, or they feel it, and they feed off of a whole city. You know what I mean? All of them just going outside at night, just stalking innocent people. They just feed off of that energy of the fear of those people. Because as I said, right, as a teenager, I learned first that evil family, their qualities of always seeking arguments with me, and just for no reason, they're fine, right? They're just watching TV or whatever, and all of a sudden, they just say something, and I say something, and boom, 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 boom. It's like a crazy person. They just go somewhere else. And I would just stand there thinking, what the hell is this thing? I knew it wasn't them anymore. You get it? So they're crazy. Get it? They're crazy in the head. That's what an evil person is. They're crazy. So I wish they would be treated as crazy. Just not a crazy that doesn't know what they're doing. That's disgusting. You obviously are then putting down what evil is. Evil is a choice. It's their fault. They're doing it consciously. They're just crazy. Don't treat them like a healthy person in the mind. You get me? Right? They can harm or harass people, obviously not normal in the mind. Then you will start treating them like something then, you get me, sort of smart, like a healthy person, whatever. Okay, then I started to see they have the qualities of an energy vampire. You get me? They just get into random arguments with you, especially when I was happy or something good happened for me. So do you see what I mean by energy? They can sense that my energy is high. They can sense, when I say energy, you might freak out. I just mean happy. I'm in a good mood, you know? They're in misery, so they want other people to also feel bad. You get me? It's just not going to be the same misery because maybe you're a moral person. But you feeling down, obviously, you get me, that makes them feel better. Because they don't want to be good people. So then they could also have happy energy. You see how evil they are? They just want to steal it from others. So just the way they want others to feel miserable is the first initial assault on the human race and other creations of God. That's their first assault. The fact that they're miserable and they want to spread it. And then the second assault would be, okay, they stole or they killed or they said something perverted or they did this or that. And as a male, right, they raped or like that. That's the second assault. The first assault was this desire to make other people be low. Whether those people are good or bad. They target, evil and good humans, obviously. So you get me. You have to first understand what they want. You guys just think bad just does bad things. But why does it do bad things? So we cannot let the other way they seek energy from people, which is harassing people on a daily basis, bullying people on a daily basis. And society doesn't make that a bad thing. It doesn't make that a crime. It doesn't make that something where you can kick that out of their store. And exactly, you all are obviously scared that maybe it will become a pattern. Why would it become a pattern? If evil humans come to your store as a customer and they see that you always protect your employees and you also protect your customers and just whoever is wrong, you hold them accountable, why would they come back to your store? Right? To sort of recreate that same situation for you and accuse your employees every time. Don't listen to that nonsense. Companies are immoral. It's always some evil human who first founds it. They don't care about doing the right thing. And no, it's not because they want money and they're scared of I just told you, you would actually have more customers if you treat people well. You would have more customers if people behave, because then otherwise you're mocking God, as if from a place of morality that's doing moral things, as if he doesn't give you more money. What the hell are you talking about? Isn't God going to bless you also? That's just the natural effect. If you make the place moral and safe for everybody, it's just going to be great and better than a place that's not like that. 2, God will bless it. 3, you're going to attract more good people. And the ones who really want to accuse and harass people, that sort of Karen today on YouTube, they're not going to want to come to your store. You get me? If they come, it's just to buy what they need, which is what we want. We just want them to get things they actually need, because then they don't usually harass somebody, they leave. But they usually go around, they go to hotels, they go to stores, you get me, that's what they usually buy, one little thing to just bother somebody. Because that afternoon, they were feeling extremely low in their mood. And they just think, let me go harass someone and get some energy. Does harassing people make you feel happy? No. They have envy, that evil quality of envy. So if that person's not happy, then they feel like, yay, I'm not the only one. You get me? It doesn't actually feel good Okay, it's just that's just what evil is. They don't want to do something good and productive to feel happy, you know? They just don't want others to be happy. So do you see then why, since they have dark energy, they have bad energy, why they seem attracted to certain people to approach them and bother them? Because they can tell your energy is not like theirs, like they're not evil like them. So that's why people who have very good hearts, who are very empathetic and loving, it's not the human, you in that sense, you know? The human is still not gonna have that much knowledge. It's the demon. That doesn't mean the demons are smart. No, it just means they're invisible. So they can easily know, right? Hey, this person's 20 years old. Another demon can tell them that who knows that person, right? Like demons who live in their neighborhood. Because they're possessing people in their neighborhood. Because there's billions of demons. They don't all know everything about you. It's just the ones in your neighborhood. You get me possessing the neighbor next to you. You get me? That's why harassment and bullying usually comes from people in your community. You know, someone like in your actual neighborhood. You're not going to go to another city usually and see harassment. That's because their demons sort of saw you on a regular basis as they possess this person. You get me? And they're just going to talk to other demons in that neighborhood. They're going to look for someone to come and bother you tomorrow like that. They're going to come to your job and do witchcraft to you. And now you always have these customers bother you more than others. You notice there's something going on here now, a pattern. So it's the demons who, not because they're powerful, but because of a logical reason, they actually can see you, but you cannot, observed you. They know you're a good person through observation. You get me? They know every day you don't do bad things. You don't. Now they think, of course you have good energy. Because good energy just means you have a lot of happy emotion in you. They want to steal it. God have mercy. And they hope for some humans, not everyone, right? Because this is really good people that I'm talking about. But humans who are just not necessarily evil, but they could be evil, right? If you just teach them. They obviously do that to those ones because they actually want those ones to become evil. But humans who would not become evil, right? Really good people, they just want that energy. So energy vampires is the first thing I learned as a teenager. Then as I got older, I learned about narcissistic personality disorder, psychopathic. Then as I got older, I saw gangstalking. And that really ruined my life. I could not understand what the hell I need to do to mentally be free from the hyper awareness these humans are causing me. They're demons. You get me? It doesn't mean I became hyper aware because they harass me every day. No, God created our brain so powerful that you can harass someone every day and they won't actually become sensitized to it. They'll actually be fine. We're powerful. It's witchcraft they do to people they gang stalk. It's our mind. They actually do witchcraft to it. It makes you aware that in ignition turned on, that airline is driving, that it's not us. You get me? Hurting ourselves and not ignoring them or actually becoming traumatized because as human beings somehow, that's just how we are. No. The things they do, you can actually just forget about it. Because they just do behaviors you would say are normal behaviors, like just driving. Just coming to the same store you go to. But they're stalking you. Get it? They just have bad intention. They try to approach you a lot and like that. But the more you become stronger, then they stop doing direct behavior that you could go to jail for like that. They just become more quiet and they just sit there every day. You might think, well, what's the point? The psychological torture that stalking you would cause. You see, they know you're going to be tortured by the fact that they're stalking you every day. They have no business in that store and they're all narcissistic and creepy and perverted. These are not good-looking, sweet, adorable, healthy humans in this world. Those people have a job, they have a life, they're getting married, they're enjoying their life. These are the lowly ones in society who are like the Karen that just come everywhere we go. They have no life, therefore, which then means they don't have a job usually. Because 8 hours a shift, you'd be somewhere else. Why you everywhere someone goes? How can they sit somewhere for 8 hours? Like their apartment or whatever. It's just weird. So that's what I'm saying. I finally learned the solution and I'm gonna share it. It's so sad that people are not gonna find my podcast because God is hiding it due to the sort of the other stuff that I talk about, right? The religious corruption, because God is not setting the time for Muslims to find it because Let's just say I'm someone that he doesn't want anyone to find out about right now for spiritual reasons. You know? Think of it that way. I came to do something big, so he has to hide me. Think of it that way. So if you're the only one listening to this, well, some, like I would say 99.9% of whoever's listening to this podcast are actually the humans who, right? They don't have any conscious ability to judge me. They're blind for me spiritually and physically. They can never see me normally like they can see you. They're blind. You know, God did something divine to blind them. So that human, they're coming to my podcast because they're actually possessed by demons. Get it? To stalk me, to gang stalk, or and also persecute the other way that you would persecute a prophet. Like that. It's because demons are following me. So they're bringing me mentally ill, psycho, perverted, extreme, really creepy, lowly losers. Just click on my YouTube video or my podcast episode. That's it. Real people are not going to find it. And obviously, the majority of humans who we would say find it, they're also similar to these humans, like Muslims. They're very lowly and nasty and weak human beings anyway, like that filthy family God put me in. And many non-Muslims are like them, obviously. I know. I just mean it's not humans who actually would be like, oh, what's this? You know what I mean? They're not. They're not like that. So it doesn't matter. They listen to my episode. They don't have a conscious ability to judge it. They're just operating on the witchcraft, just to be a gang stalker, just to be a stalker of other types of witchcraft I'm put into. And their demons are blind for me too. Like they don't know who I am. It's just, you get me? God blinds them in order to make them, in order so they have the power to do bad behavior around me. Because if they could see me normally too, their demons, they'd be scared of me. So in order for God to make them do things that you cannot do unless you're scared of, unless you're not scared of someone, right? Such as harass me or and stuff. They also are put in this blind as well, demons. Because I'm not someone you can harass. Because I'm not a regular person. So that's all you really need to know. But when God opens everyone's free will to find this, just like you find other things on the internet, that's when you're all gonna be like, oh, we have a solution to gang stalking. We have a solution to workplace harassment. We have a solution to housing crisis. We have a solution to trauma. We have a solution to demonic possession. We have a solution to mental illness. We have a solution to sexism and perversion. We have a solution to religion. We have a solution to all the rights that religion takes from certain demographics. I'm, being taught many areas of life what we need to have full justice and knowledge and understanding and solutions. I just can't teach you everything in a thorough way, right? Because that's like for the future. And I'm obviously in bad situations. Usually it's not like my life is chill and relaxed. These weirdos are possessed to just stalk me everywhere. Even now in this building, I'm standing in a corner where I can record because I don't want to be inside the building, right? They just come, stand outside, smoke outside, park outside. So even now they're here. You get me? But they're blind. You get me? They can't listen to my audio and actually judge what I'm saying. This is how you know I'm not a regular human being. Because the human beings who can hear me right now in this parking lot cannot judge what I'm saying. They're blind. Get it? Blind, blind, blind. Deaf, like a car cannot have any emotion. They can't. So no one's gonna have that ability even if you listen to it. You're never gonna sit down and be like, who might this person be? Nothing. Until God wants you to know, then he's gonna do something divine to your mind. He's gonna take off sort of like the blindfold and the sort of clogging in your ears, and you're gonna be like, oh my God, who's this? Then you can actually judge and try to understand who I am and what I'm sharing with you. You can use it. So it's up to him to still, right, in that blindness, help people who are being gang stalked with the solutions I'm gonna upload, inshallah, in the next episodes, which means God willing, if God wills or allows me. Right, it's up to him, obviously, to still let those complete strangers just, right, never have the ability to judge or think about me, but just take the information as if they maybe just saw it somewhere else. So inshallah, that's what I hope, because I hope it reaches them. But it seems common sense, the solution I came up with. But I will help them understand how it's so powerful, because it helps you to be not hyper aware of the witchcraft they do to your mind, which is the hyper awareness they cause you. Someone walks by and there's just thoughts and feelings, energy, all these bad emotions. You get me? Something's telling you they're stalking you, even if you don't want to believe it, We want to overcome that. And this is why, they think they can accuse the victim of mental illness, because technically the witchcraft is sending you thoughts and feelings, you know? And obviously people who are mentally ill, that's what they say is wrong with them. They tell you they're getting thoughts, right? But obviously there's different thoughts that everyone gets, right? Everyone has obviously bad thoughts coming to them, obviously. So that's just a tactic we could link to every human being anyway. But this is something else. You know what I mean? This is something that we don't need to obviously tell you we get thoughts and no, we're not going to say that. So you can mock victims who are going through this. No, it's easy to prove it. It's actually community stalking. You can actually see harassment, crime, you know, you can actually see it. You can actually see stalking happening repeatedly to one person. So as a government and as a society, you can actually see the evidence that this is real, you know? I'm just saying there is just thoughts and feelings also basically being used on a psychological level from the demons possessing these humans as their way to make you aware, because it would help you if you weren't aware. You know, you could just ignore them. They don't want you to. Because the goal is to torture your mind. The goal is for you to kill yourself. The goal is for you to not live to the best of your ability, despite all the times you just get fired from your jobs, get evicted from your homes, get harassed everywhere you go. People try to assault you. You get me? Things you can see that would show you crime is actually happening repeatedly to an individual that you would know they're targeted. So as a government, you have to then believe witchcraft is something real. You know how governments don't usually connect things to religion? But I mean, technically they do, right? They believe in Jesus, they believe in the Bible, they have to believe in witchcraft then. So that's how then they would know evil humans operate with demons and evil humans operate with things like witchcraft, right? They have no choice but to believe it. If strangers are always identifying this person they've never met, you get me? And they do the same thing. It's so coordinated and so structured, you know? It changes with the routine of that person. If they go to a new city, new home, new place, then they find them there and they bring specific humans to come there to sensitize them to those humans. You get me? So it's so obvious. And every now and then they might change the humans they use so it doesn't look obvious. It doesn't look like community stalking. So they'll keep changing them sometimes, which then means there's a lot of turnover in the city they live in. The employees that work there that they would normally see, right? No one's going to work there for years. So they're actually hurting the city that the person lives in, the state, the country the person lives in. Because they're using the employee. They're changing the employees to bad ones and ones they could easily then replace again. And they'll create situations to get those ones fired. And they'll bring new residents to their apartment or townhome. You get me? To live there, to monitor and watch this. You have no choice but to believe this is demonic and witchcraft is there. Because these things you cannot explain, you know? But then just for your ability to then know how to punish these humans, well, they do behaviors you can actually see. You know what I mean? So inshallah, I'll upload those episodes about the solutions to gang stalking. Anything else that pops into my mind about all the other things I usually talk about, inshallah, I'll just share it as time goes on. Take care of yourselves.